Hello and welcome to Auto Shenanigans. How the devil are you? Have you had a good week? My name is John. Thank you very much for joining me for another exciting episode of Secrets of the Motorway. This week I've come to Southampton, specifically Upton, a small village on the northwest side of Southampton, and it's here we find the start of the 3-mile-long M271 motorway. It opened in 1975 with the intention of creating a quick link for traffic between the M27 and the Southampton docks, and it mostly manages to do this. It features just one junction, but you'll soon see there's more to this motorway than just one junction. For us, the motorway starts at the Romsey Road roundabout. Nothing to see here, but after half a mile, the motorway is interrupted by yet another roundabout, this one being massive and under the control of traffic lights. It's called the Ordinance Interchange, and it's another gem of road planning excellence. At the interchange, the M27 and the M271 motorways meet, and it's a very poorly thought out interchange. At the very least, it could do with some free-flowing slip roads, but ideally the M271 would go over the top on a flyover. Usually, we'd look at the space left over for an unbuilt flyover, but in this case, there isn't any. They wanted the interchange to be like this. It's one of a few situations where we find traffic lights in a roundabout right in the middle of the motorway. Another good example would be the A627M. Just before you reach Junction 1, and no, the Ordinance Interchange doesn't count as a junction apparently, on your left is the headquarters building of Ordinance Survey. They're the guys that make the maps, and they're most useful when it comes to making videos about motorways and such like. In 2009, construction would begin on their new 16,000 square foot headquarters right next to the M271, and it was completed by 2011. Ordinance Survey can trace their roots as far back as 1745. Back then, the government wanted more accurate maps produced to help with military planning, so they ordered their Defence Ministry to get to it. The Board of Ordnance, as they were known, began surveying Scotland in 1747, and after 8 years had produced a highly accurate map. That might seem like a long time, but all of the work was done by hand, measuring land angles and using compasses, with all of the work split amongst a team of only 8 people. Junction 1 is definitely a motorway junction. It's a fairly uneventful roundabout junction, and despite being the only official junction on the M271, it doesn't seem to connect to anything of real significance. I suppose it allows for easy access to the industrial estate just next door, but that's about it. I don't know if you've noticed the pattern yet in this episode, but I'm standing in underpasses and under bridges because it's absolutely pissing it down. As you approach the end of the M271, the motorway takes a sharp turn to the right to avoid a block of flats. Whilst it doesn't look like much, this turn is a stupid piece of motorway design that has led to several accidents over the years. The problem is that motorists come barrelling down the motorway only to realise at the last minute that there's a tight turn and usually traffic waiting as well on the roundabout. Fortunately, National Highways realised that this junction was a bit of an arse, so in 2019 work began on improving it. They added a free-flowing slip road between the M271 and the A33. Yep. So the junction is still what we'll describe as suboptimal, but interestingly at one point there were plans to make significant changes which might have improved the situation. Back in around 2016, Hampshire Council put forward several plans to improve the road network around Southampton. These plans needed government funding, so most of them didn't happen, but the idea for the M271 was to extend it to meet the Millbrook flyover a bit further along the A33. Quite how they intended to do that remains unclear. The plans were quickly forgotten about following confirmation that funding wouldn't be made available for it. Instead, Hampshire Council decided to spend what little money they had on the M3 and the M27. So the M271 comes to an end at the Redbridge roundabout, where we find the Redbridge flyover, meaning we have to ask, is there a Red Bridge? Yes, there is, although it's not very red. There's the old Red Bridge that was built in 1793, now sitting unused, and next to that is the new Red Bridge, which carries the A35 over the River Test. The bridge built in 1793 has stood the test of time in perhaps some rather hostile conditions, whereas the newer bridges had to be closed in early 2023 to be resurfaced and re-waterproofed. Not only that, but reinforcement works had to be carried out on its underlying concrete support structures. They don't build them like they used to, but on the plus side, it only cost £14 million. And there we are then, guys. That's all we've got time for this week. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, there is of course a button specifically for that, and if you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. That would be wicked sweet awesome. Enjoy the rest of your week, whatever it is you get up to. My name's John. You've been watching Auto Shenanigans, and I'll see you next time for another exciting episode of Secrets of the Motorway. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.
If you want a zombie bunny or a pussycat mummy, a vampire froggy or a skeleton-y doggy, if you want to lease a Wehrmaus or a Yeti for your fear house, do you crave a Frankensheep or a creature from the deep? Well, there's a place where you can go, you know, where all the crawly creepies are on show. Oh yeah!